Hyperfocus is great on PC, but only okay to dog shit on console depending on the given person
Okay.
and their connection.
By the way, we're live.
Hello.
The change in tone was so... Okay, everything is working. Time to talk to Urianzi before I actually talk to Reen, who has the quest. I never did get the hang of summoning primals correctly.
I don't understand what happened here. We gave up or what? Floppy. Oh, they had no edge. Hello, one person in chat. Please tell me that's not you. No, I'm on the results screen of DVD Watch. Once again, though, I failed to complete a gen in the Killer's Terror. That's
Could always do that thing where you like 99 it, wait for them to find you, and
I tried that on the Nurse game, and I'm like, I'm not gonna throw this game just for a fucking archive.
I had a Gen 99 for like a solid minute, and she never came over. So I'm like, fuck it, I'm not throwing a game just for the freaking archive. Also, you want to know something that pissed a lot of people off?
In DBD?
No, in 14 actually.
What?
So I've shown you the Omni 80 is an Amaro mount, right?
Oh, the Amaro mount thing.
Getting all the combat jobs to 80.
Yeah.
For doing that for 90, you get like a head ribbon thing, which is not worth it at all.
God, that is a level of insulting.
Well, my belief is the quality of rewards dropped so significantly because they didn't want people to feel forced to go 90 all everything.
That actually does make a kind of sense.
Real quick, I gotta make a phone call.
Have I done Echoes of a Fallen Star? Nope. So I gotta do MSQ. gotta find the cat lady.
Heavens, you're here!
Lady Chai, whatever is the matter?
I knew not where else to turn. Oh, this is all too much for my poor heart to bear alone.
Alone? What of Master Chai?
But that is the very reason I summoned you. He's gone.
What? What happened?
It all began after the events at Mount Gulg. With Lord Vorthry out of the way, we all agreed that a new leader must be chosen.
And so you held an election?
Yes, well, sort of. Not a single person volunteered to stand, you see. After a lifetime of leisure, we free citizens have grown somewhat indolent. Readapting to the harsh realities of life is trying enough, but to take charge of a broken city as well? No one wanted such responsibility. Nevertheless, Yulmore could not well do without a leader, and so we decided that anyone and everyone should be considered a candidate. And after we cast our ballots and tallied the votes, the mayorship fell upon my dear husband.
Well, given the manner in which he orchestrated the construction of the giant Talos, none could deny his leadership qualities.
But even before then, he had proven himself at Daedalus Stoneworks, don't forget. He is more than qualified for the role. The perfect choice. Indeed. I told him as much when his victory was first announced. But perhaps I was too forceful in my attempt to encourage him. For shortly after that, he vanished without a word.
You believe he was so daunted by the burden of leadership that he felt compelled to flee? Please, Lady Chai, dry your eyes. Your husband does not strike me as the sort of man who would abandon his duty, much less his beloved wife. There has to be some other reason for his absence.
You truly think so? What about you? What do you think has become of my husband?
And there you have it,
Boy,
Lady
more
Chai.
dead husbands.
You needn't worry. Master Chai loves you more than all the world, and he will return.
Is he really dead?
I have no idea where you are.
Wherever he may have gone,
my poor
rest
husband,
assured we will find him.
probably dead.
It was Dahlia Chai.
No, he's not dead.
I didn't think so.
Yeah, Dahlia Chai.
Thank you, my dear boy. You have set my mind at ease. I will trust in my husband and await his return.
Yeah, I have to do the MSQ in order to do the last bit.
Oh yeah. Because it's patch content. So you need to be on patch.
Not to be confused with Patch's content, which is just some guy shoving his foot up your ass as you fall down a cliffside. Please tell me you get the joke.
there's a new source of heavy speculation about us getting a new Elden Ring DLC soon.
What do you mean a new Elden Ring DLC? This would be the first.
A new an actual
Confirmed.
confirmation.
Confirmation, yeah.
Because the second volume of an official play guide was supposed to come out in December. It's been delayed to early 2023 to quote make sure that it includes everything that it can by time of publication.
That is a little strange.
Which means if it doesn't come out end of this year, it's going to come out at the start of next year, first quarter.
Just imagine mid-November, Miyazaki just drops it on us. It's going to be a DLC. Just walks out of the room. Walks into the room. By the way, Elden Ring DLC. Walks back out.
My only real hope for Elden Ring DLC right now is that it's not that do not use the name everyone got from that one questionable leak.
Yeah, the questionable leak is just something. Yeah, no, this is fake.
It's not even fake or not. I just didn't like the name. It's Bandits of the Badlands. It's the issue I and a lot of other people had is the syntax is correct with a lot of their DLC titles, like Artorias of the Abyss,
yes,
Crown of the Ivory King, etc. However, Bandits of the Badlands is such a generic subject.
Yeah, whereas when FromSoft does that, it's very specific,
it's
the
more
old
grandiose.
hunters.
Ironically, the old hunters is one of the only examples that doesn't fit their usual syntax, which is the X of the Y.
Yeah, X of the Y, yes, but I meant it was that it's always specific. Was my point.
What you would call it? For instance, it could be the dreams of Nicola or something like that. You know what I mean?
Go in there. Wait, go in there. It's just go in there. The boss is just 10 Moogs.
Honestly,
wait, no, and not the Moog that we know. It's just it's like a bodybuilder type Moog, all in speedos. It's just I think we know Mikola's taste.
Do you know what would really rub it in and be stupid?
What?
If it is a Mikola based DLC, that you have to
fight to kill Melania and or Moog.
That you have to kill Moog to get to the egg to interact with it to go to the DLC, but in true Miyazaki fashion, the key item to interact with the egg is either from the other Moog or Melania.
Let's be real, it's gonna be Melania. It's fucking Miyazaki we're talking about.
My only thing with Melania is that she's much more of an end of zone boss, whereas both Moogs aren't at the end of the zone. They're tied to a small subzone. Alexa, get Katie. Where are you?
Yulmore. Not
Be more
Yulmore.
specific.
Yulmore.
Can you be more specific?
How more specific can I be other than Yulmore?
Where in Yulmore? It's a city, technically.
Southeast Derelicts. Because I just went there. I thought this said overweight Ondo, but it's overwrought Ondo. was going to say, wait, is this guy really overweight? No, he's not. I see you. Can you even see this guy, or am I just talking to a couch?
Hathenbert is still there, yes.
Okay,
rather. There's no R, Hathenbert.
Yeah, I know, it always throws me off that there's no R there.
It's funny, of the three jobs you play, you actually outlevel me in like all of them just because I play like anything else.
What do you mean 3 jobs? There's only 2 I play.
You do play a little Red Mage is like the one exception.
Paladin is also level 70. And so is Dancer.
My Paladin's 89 and Dancer's 82.
You're so close to getting it to 90.
Yep. And then Dark Knight, like I think Dark Knight's still like exactly at 80. And then Gunbreaker's at like 81.
I just see the words for the people. Just end up having flashbacks of DVD.
And now you're talking to nobody.
Well, I mean, Alpha Node is a nobody.
I mean, the big thing is it's not even like target question mark like you see with some people sometimes. It doesn't even say you're targeting anybody.
Probably because he is the he started the next quest. That's probably why. No, wait, you know what I think would be in true Miyazaki fashion for a key for a Mikla DLC? Just like put it in some random ass spot on the Halleck tree.
It's in Melania's Blossom where you gotta interact with it. But here's the thing. It spawns when you enter the room, so people try and get to the DLC by either A, grabbing it during the fight, or B, trying to get far. Actually, no, I think no, it's the room is fog-walled over. Never mind. Or is it fog-walled over on your first attempt, or can you just walk in?
I don't remember, but no, it's just like no, you can interact with it, but only during the boss fight. I better not joke about that.
I will say though, From has gotten better over over the years of making DLC accessible in a decent manner.
Oh yeah, compared to like the first Dark Souls.
Where you need to kill a specific enemy in one of the like late game areas where you can only get to where they are through either a glitch or by
doing the main quest.
Doing the main quest, basically starting the last act of the endless game with turning into Lord Vessel.
And in Dark Souls 2, you had to go all over the goddamn place.
Like you said, Dark Souls 2 is still Dark Souls 2 Scholar. They are accessible through the main path, based on the time and order the game expects you to do them in. Like it expects you to do Sunken, Iron, and then Ivory last.
Yeah, but with Bloodborne, you can have access to it after beating Amelia.
But here's the other thing with Dark Souls 2. Outside of Scholar of the First Sin, it's really dumb in video gaming. In OG Dark Souls 2.
Yeah.
Do you even know how it works in OG Dark Souls 2?
Didn't you start with them?
If you own the DLC, they're given to you. They're just given.
Yeah,
I
don't remember if you told me that or if I read about it. But I remember that it was like, and I can't help but think, oh, that's dumb.
At the very least, for it being integrated, it makes sense how they do it in Scholar. I'm a plane on a fence. Is it weird that I think I figured out, through a really stupid realization, a possible connection between Calusia and either Kurthus or Dravania or both?
What?
Is it what related to MSQ or what I said?
What you said.
Because I was flying around doing Beast Tribe stuff the other day, and I realized that Psalm All, the top of it floats, and it has like a similar aesthetic to Mount Gulg. I don't know if that's intentional or not. Which would
probably not, because Mount Gulg wasn't originally flying.
I don't think Psalm All was either originally.
Remember that we're talking about a place where dragons live. And alcoholic narcissistic rats with wings.
And here's the other thing. The connection to Kurthus is a bit less reaching, I guess you could say. Is both areas feature a city-state that's, when you first arrive, is up their own ass and kind of isolationist.
Well, to be fair, Ishgard was being isolationist for valid reasons. They were at war.
A war that they started.
No, a war that their ancestors started. Actually, their ancestors didn't even actually start it. Nidhogg started it.
The Dragon Song War was a mess.
Yes, it was.
lamppost does not have collision.
What lamp has no collision? Oh yeah, it doesn't. Gotta keep the burb out.
So what part? I vaguely am aware of what part of MSQ you're at, but could you enlighten me?
Okay, but we have to start from the beginning. In the beginning, everything was like pitch black.
In the beginning, there was a bad MMO.
I like how you knew I was just gonna do that joke. Trying to find someone named Rendon to help with the Ulmore.
Oh yeah, like because like they need a leader after you
Vothry.
You unpersoned Vothry.
No. I didn't unperson him. He tried to unperson me, and I Uno reverse card.
You out unpersoned an unpersoner.
That's just a fucking JoJo meme right there. You may have unpersoned me, but I unpersoned you're unpersoning.
This is the worst part, that if we were playing, if we were doing Code Vein, I could do like the frickin' Borderlands JoJo pose that's in that game right about now.
You know one of the developers is a fucking JoJo fan when that's in there.
It very much feels like the one like signature pose of Jonathan from Part 2.
I've never watched a single JoJo episode. Which one is Jonathan?
Second JoJo. The nice guy.
Oh.
He's also the old man in Part 3, like the oh no.
Oh, you
Basically-
mean the
basically
oh
most of-
my god!
Oh my god! Basically,
That-
most of the memes involve either Jotaro, the yada yada,
Yes, from
Jonathan.
he's from Stardust Crusaders, right?
which is Part 3.
Okay.
In Part 3, Jonathan becomes more like a side character, and Jotaro is the main JoJo.
I can't get closer to you without beating the. I can't beat the shit out of you without getting closer to you. Can I just say I'm actually considering how popular JoJo is in Japan, I'm 100% surprised there isn't an emote that is just a JoJo reference in this game. I am surprised. Little do we know, there's one in the works, but it's tied to a Hildebrand.
Well, it's you again.
It's tied to a Hildebrand quest. And instead of Hildebrand doing the pose, it's just Nashu.
Well, I see you've invited your friends. Need them to fight your battles for you, do you?
No, I didn't invite them, as it happens. Though they are indeed my friends. Well, not only mine, but every true Yulmoran's. They are the ones who awakened us to the truth, to Lord Vorthry's villainy, the famous warriors of darkness.
Are they now?
Yes, they are. It would be no exaggeration to call them our saviors. We owe much and more to their kindness, but we cannot depend on that kindness forever. To do so would be a little different from entrusting our affairs to Lord Vorthry. Nay, we must learn to stand on our own 2 feet. And I would have them present to witness my attempt.
Hear, hear, Master Chai.
Your sentiments are admirable. Yet admirable sentiments do not a nation make. In my capacity as advisor, I once strove to build a better Yulmore. Gave honest counsel to my superiors, drafted laws for the benefit of one and all. But in time, my values fell out of favor. There was no need for them in this paradise Vorthry was creating. And so I left my homeland behind. But you, Chai News, you were content to wallow in indolence under Vorthry's auspices. And so I cannot help but ask myself what manner of nation you intend to build.
I can offer no simple answer to that question.
Am I talking to no one again?
Yeah, I knew he wasn't gonna be there. Cause he's like only there for the quest. And while
Yeah, I figured.
I saw
This
like, a
much
hunt
I will
thing.
say.
I killed it, and then I'm flying out looking for more.
It is my hope that Yulmore can become a nation which her citizens might freely choose to build together. A great many people, myself included, flocked to Yulmore seeking sanctuary. The alternative being to live in fear and die in pain. It seemed an easy choice. And sanctuary we found. As much food and drink as we could ever want. Secured at the cost of the surrounding villages. Little wonder the people gathered at our doorstep, begging to work among the bonded. The free were blind to it all, of course. Content to, as you say, wallow in indolence. In ignorance. Were I mayor, I would first take stock of the city's resources and see that they were assigned equitably. Our days of reckless consumption are behind us. The distinction between free and bonded died with Vorthry. The needs of rich and poor alike must be considered if our nation is to survive. To which end I would take steps to secure channels for supplies, rekindle relations with nearby settlements, who re-establish industry, reach out to neighboring nations, and the list goes on and on. But I am no ruler, nor even a politician. I am an entrepreneur. My expertise lie in planning and profit. I haven't the knowledge or experience to run a nation. Please, Rendon, will you not help me? Together, we could solve the city's problems. build a Yulmore for the people.
A Yulmore for the people. I'd rather like the sound of that. But before I offer you my counsel, I would be certain of your ability to perform the duties of office. You would? You ask me to help you solve Yulmore's problems. But first, I would see you solve one on your own. Accomplish that, and you will prove both to me and the people that you are a man worth following.
Why don't you just ask him to build the Talos that can reach Mount Gould while you're at it?
It just cracks me up that it's easier to convince Chai-Nuz that building a giant Talos is possible than it is to convince him to be like mayor.
I know. I love it.
Build a giant robot that can reach a mountain in the sky. On it. Take a political office. And he's gone like a fucking Tom and Jerry sketch.
I mean, it is tougher. As ridiculous as a giant robot to reach a flying mountain is,
a giant stone robot. Giant magic stone robot to grab a flying mountain out of the sky.
Have you seen the before and after pictures of past presidents?
Have you seen the before and after the first year pictures of most presidents?
Yes, I have. It's stressful. It sucks. The only thing neither of us have seen are the before and after pictures of most presidents after 1 month. And it's raining. Can I just say I like that? How the surrounding area will change in the cutscene.
I will say, there was a cutscene with Emmett that I had where it was unintentionally funny because of the weather at the time. You know when you see him in the Crystarium, he's like, "Behold the sky." You know what I mean?
Did it start raining?
It was overcast, so he goes, "Behold the sky." It is just gray. I still have a picture of it. Behold the sky, and there's just fucking nothing to look at.
That's why I love how the weather change. The cutscene's weather will reflect like the world outside of the cutscene. I love that. I wish more games did that. You know, you're in a cutscene, but
it's because they're in-engine cutscenes. Yeah.
Yeah. I wish more games did that. It's fun.
So I got essential fields and amber and kelp. Where the hell is kelp? Oh, it's right there. Okay. There's a region in Amarant called Our Lady's Feet.
Yeah, I know. I just...
Is it like that there was like a statue there and all it's left is the feet?
That... I don't know if that's better or worse.
Maybe their reasoning is like the area's flattened out in the middle of the mountain range because like some giant feminine deity walked through the area and flattened them. Who the hell knows? It's a weird name.
You were saying something that would just be like, please stop sounding like fucking Yoko Taro.
That moment when you're hunting for like one specific enemy type and led you like almost entirely across the field to the hit first.
Is it an elite mark or?
No. It's just the fields of amber is like the majority of the right side of Amarant counts as that region.
Yeah, I know.
Look at the little buggers. Lakeland, Rakchiga, one or two things It's a windmill.
Oh.
Like I flew past Our Lady's Feet area on the way to somewhere else. It's like a little clearing with a fucking windmill. That just raises even more freaking questions.
Yes, I'm trying to concentrate. Ugh. Now what was going on?
The location named Our Lady's Feet was a clearing with a windmill in it, which only raised even more questions.
Questions of which should not be asked for fear of the answers.
Over Burtenberg. You may call me
Fucking Monty Python. Fun fact, Solaire's outfit in Dark Souls 1 seems to have some inspiration, if not a reference, to Monty Python and the Holy Grail.
I mean, there's also the fact that bucket-style helmets are a real thing.
I mean, yeah. And chainmail being put into a lot of armor was more common than people would think.
Yeah, fiction has really oversold
Plate armor.
It was an expensive thing rich people did.
And you would also need you need to put at least one layer of chainmail in the plate armor itself.
Right then, form a line and make for Yulmore.
Just to make sure that the person who got stabbed wasn't immediately harmed. I mean, they're still gonna feel it.
But whenever I think of the amount of stuff that went into real, like, plate armor, I just think of that one scene from A Knight's Tale where the guy's, like, struggling to get on his horse. and then they all laugh at Heath Ledger's character, like, in his, like, smaller, lighter plate body.
What's that noise?
And then he gets on the horse by himself with no help, and they all shut up.
Well, yeah, I mean, if you wore pure plate armor, you were not cavalry. You were usually vanguard.
Well, A Knight's Tale is about, like, jousting.
Wicked, what?
Desecrate
Run away, tell us!
House of God!
God! Oh.
So the fact that nobody has taken that taken that audio and put it over the scene with Horsefant showing you the black chocobo is disappointing.
Call the guard!
It's surprisingly not that common of a movie.
Which
Like,
sucks.
I reference it, people go, what the fuck are you talking about?
I still need to watch it just for that scene. And I'm like, it's the Horsefant scene! Just rides a friggin' horse into church. Meanwhile, God's seeing this. Like, no, I like this.
Stay back! All of you!
But now,
Is that?
I mean, every time now I go through that scene, whether on a new character or New Game Plus, that is going to forever play in my head.
But of course I'm back. You didn't see.
I can't!
Oh God, she killed him.
Ooh,
Oh my god, he's dead!
You know the scene I'm talking about, don't you?
Off the cuff? No, I don't.
Julia just coming up and hugging the shit out of him.
Out of China's, and you can like hear his spine crack.
Yeah, and then he just loses consciousness. Not even mayor for a full month, and he's already been assassinated.
He's had a position of authority for a couple hours, and his wife has already severed his spine. Like, people say they don't like his character. I'm like, I think it's funny.
No, I like his character. Yeah. At first, he comes off as snobbish, but that's most of Yulmore. But as it came on, I came to understand his character. He's just... He doesn't communicate well with people. He doesn't know how to communicate his feelings that well.
It's just the sight of you filled me with such joy, I couldn't help myself.
You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, no, it's all right, dear. I should have just come out and said what it was I was intending, instead of entrusting the task to a hastily
it's
scribbled
very
letter.
telling that the best way to get him to help you in both times is to bring up his wife.
Yes, it is.
Does that mean you'll do it?
Well, I'm here, aren't I? I mean, not that my absence signified any unwillingness, you understand? Oh, no, naught could be further from the truth. I only left to enlist the aid of the former mayor's senior advisor. And now that I have it, I believe I am ready to take office.
Oh, how wonderful!
God, this is so. This is so sweet that everyone here, including the frickin' Talos, now have diabetes. That is how wholesome that was.
Boy, I love how the things I need to do for this, for my hunts and Raktika are 3 different areas. Wine forest, we got gap, health, and swamp. This one is probably late. As soon as I get in the air outside of Slitherbow, it starts.
Yeah, it's just like the moment your toe takes the smallest inch outside, it just starts right up.
This is the. Can you just imagine, like you're sitting at like the threshold of what do you call the Raktika, and there's just a bard sitting there with a fucking megaphone.
Honestly, I wouldn't be surprised
just staring at you.
Honestly, I wouldn't be surprised if Yoshi P had made that as an actual thing, just because, like no real reason.
Like memes aside, the song is cool.
Yeah, I know.
It's just the only reason it's meme is because that's literally like the first second of the song. Oh, that's gross.
What's happening? Hello?
It's just a funky hunt monster.
Oh.
What I really should have done is the frickin' what do you call it? That one website I told you about that. If you put in all your hunt targets for a given expansion, it gives you like the optimal order to save, like so you're not like traveling the wrong route the right 5 times a night. Like you go here, then you go like southeast, and here's your thing. Then you go here. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Link me the site later, because it would help.
I forget what it's called actually, is the thing.
Oh, damn it.
It's like hunt, like if you Google like 14 like hunt something, it tends to show up. I've only used it like once or twice.
Go on,
You've got to be
dear.
kidding me. The lack of satisfaction. I pop in Shroud. I have 1 stack left of my like Enshroud attacks, and the thing I'm killing is dead.
Thank you all for gathering here today. But before going any further, could I ask the free citizens of Yulmore to look around? Tis a sight none of us would ever have seen under Lord Forthry's rule. Not only do we stand in the familiar presence of those we once called the Bonded, but today we welcome the peoples of the Derelicts and Gate Town too. Today we welcome the Warriors of Darkness, come to bear witness to Yulmore's new beginning. As you know, an election was recently held, at the end of which I had the honor of being chosen to succeed Lord Forthry. You place great faith in me, and I promise to do my utmost to live up to your expectations, and I will seek always to carry out the duties of this office with integrity and fairness. Always, I say, but not forever. Let it be known that I do not intend to hold this post indefinitely. I consider myself but an acting mayor, who will serve only for the interim, while Yulmore is reshaped according to a new set of values. No longer can we think of ourselves as divided, as the free and the bonded, citizens and non-citizens. The systems put in place by Lord Forthry must be undone. But even as we tear down the old, we must give thought to the new, to what manner of nation Yulmore should become. Whatever the answer may be, it cannot be decided by one man alone. And so I propose that an open forum be held, that we might all discuss how best to strive towards a better future. However, there can be no talk of the morrow unless we first address the issues of today. Securing new sources of food, rebuilding relations with our neighbors, re-establishing industry. There is much and more that needs to be done. Too much for a mere man of business. And so I pledge instead to do everything in my power to ensure our city's security and stability while we all work together to see these problems solved. The road before us will not be easy, and I know full well how daunting the prospect of honest labor may seem to some of you. But we must accept the reality of our circumstances. We must move forward. This much we owe to ourselves and to the brave heroes who risked their lives to bring back the night. Once we have shored up our city's foundations and regained some semblance of normality, let us reconvene to speak of the future. Until then, I humbly ask that you lend me and each other your strength. For Yulmore!
Oof.
And now comes the fun task of hunting down an elite mark in the entirety of the Tempest.
Good luck.
Huh, that's interesting. I just watched one mob annihilate another one. Apparently they don't get along, because they get close enough to each other.
Huh. Didn't even know that could happen in this game.
Which is funny, because I keep seeing them near each other. I don't think you can eat shrimp that big, sister.
Not with that attitude.
It's like the size of the behemoth now. It's a big shrimp.
Get out the fork and the butter. Wait, I can have a shrimp mount?
No, it's a mob in the Tempest.
Damn!
It looks more like a lobster anyway. It like skulls around on legs, doesn't like float.
Lobsters don't float. Neither do shrimp. Shrimp still have legs.
True.
I guess shrimp spend most of their time floating. I'm not sure.
To be fair, in my defense, I'm used to shrimp existing in a state where their legs have long since been violently removed from their body.
As opposed to having been humanely removed from their body.
Like, it's just like a big fish man, but I can't find him anymore. I swear to God, if this is another one that was like, it spawns in a fate.
It should. Wait. Is it okay? If since you're looking for a hunt mark, it is not. They never spawn in fates.
Not entirely true. There's at least one in Gridania, where you gotta get like a
hunt mark, as
yeah,
in
I've had it.
As in, it is not related to the grand companies.
No, I've had a hunt thing where it's a fate.
Yeah, that's
It's
still
not...
tied to the grand companies because you still have to. You still have to be doing things with them, from my understanding. I now have a new orchestrational role.
Orchestrian.
Vicar. You just hear to the ether his hope for humanity drop by like 50 points when I do that.
Every time you do something like that, I think, you know what? That time when I got you yeeted into the air by a skyscraper in Tower of Paradise was completely justified.
You were trying to justify it anyways. I was about to say, is this you that just ran past me? But then I'm like, oh wait, your name is still in question marks. You're nowhere near Yulmore.
You sense your mark to the northeast as he loads in. Thanks, game, for not telling me where he is until I'm like literally right up on him.
I really think for like the elite marks, it should like okay, you know like how quest markers have like an arrow showing you the direction to go? I really think it should be something similar. You know what I mean?
Or at least the you sense your mark thing to be more responsive.
Yeah. More cutscenes. Oh, shit.
Now what?
Oh, finding out that the white aura site idea is scrapped.
Why is that?
MSQ. Transferring, trying to get everyone else's souls back into the bodies.
Yeah, why can't you use white oversight? I forget.
Oh, something about severing. It would sever the link between mind and soul. Wait, why'd I do that? I'm still waiting for Miyazaki to put actual mimics in Elden Ring. Like, the very first, like, what was it, like, for the first month that people were playing Elden Ring, we were attacked, everyone who played the other Souls games attacked every single chest.
Same with Bloodborne. Really took to realize that wasn't a thing.
Yeah, I remember, I attacked every single chest. I'm just like, there's a mimic. It's just like, Miyazaki traumatized an entire generation of gamers.
The best part is I even told you that mimics weren't a thing in Bloodborne, and you did it anyway.
Because I didn't fucking trust you. Gotta remember, Dark Souls put some trust issues, brought up some real trust issues with me. Several cutscenes will play in sequence. I still remember that one person whose name was several cutscenes. And another person's name
Sorry
was
to keep you waiting.
cutscenes.
I've carried out the treatment as per Master Matoya's instructions. It should slow the destabilization of their corporeal ether quite significantly. But tell me, how fare our friends in the first?
About that.
Well, if you're in a several cutscenes will play in sequence, I'm gonna dissolve the party and do
Yeah,
other
I'll let
stuff.
you know. I'll let you know when I get a duty.
So this Becklug's the first to lead an authority on soulcraft, are they? Sounds promising.
And Urianger's proffered solution of white auracite is rather ingenious now that I think of it. Well, while they press on with their preparations, you may rest assured we will continue to do our part here.
By the way, is Cryol's cat hoodie available in the Mog station?
Yes.
Just asking, because I have seen literally no one wearing it.
I've seen a couple, and I pointed it out once to you, I think.
Maybe. It must have been so
Whoa.
long ago.
You're back.
It was like 2 days ago.
No, I think no, that was the cat hoodie. The fat cat hoodie.
No, the other I don't know if you were with me, but the other day I was in a duty with someone with the cryo hood.
I was. Oh no, we were not in chat together then.
And none the worse for wear, I see.
Hey, Estinian.
Estinian! Oh, thank the gods! We've been worried sick. Did you lose your link pearl or something?
The situation in Garlemald has become more complicated. I was making my escape from the capital when I ran into one of yours, Riol. He thought it best we come straight here.
More complicated how?
Where to begin? After entering the Empire via Razat Han, I went about my mission of investigating Black Rose. It was then, inside a provincial factory, that I encountered the one who styles himself Shadow Hunter, Gaius Baelsar. Our goals being apparently aligned, we joined forces and ventured on into the heart of the capital, to the very Imperial Palace itself. There, we found a man whom all assumed dead. But his soul lives on, and he has wrested back his flesh. Xenos Ye Galvus. Nor did the surprises end there, for no sooner had we arrived than he murdered his sire in cold blood. The Emperor is dead. This sent Gaius into a rage, and he charged in, blade drawn.
Echo time.
What's wrong?
Boom.
We're almost ready to take over, save the world.
Oh! It's Estinian.
So they start doing that a lot.
song goes. I only said that because Estinian and Guy is split up, apparently. Cutscene! I thought they were gonna have me fight, straight up fight Xenos. Arc Ultima. Yeah, that's not a that's definitely not a problem.
Also, is this like the third time you'll have Ultima weapon now?
Something like that.
There's Ultima Weapon, Proto Ultima, and now Arc Ultima.
Yeah, Proto Ultima. I forgot from the tower, which is also post Shadowborn.
No, Proto Ultima was from Void Arc raids.
Oh, you're right.
That was back in Heaven's Wing.
thing as a book called Angry Salamander. What the hell was I supposed to do? God, I love it when they don't fucking tell, when they just make... What the hell was I supposed to do? Why did I just suddenly get insta-killed? Bullshit. What killed me? What? determined assassin, I just died. What do I do? Hello?
I don't know. All I remember is that those are really heavily scripted things.
Yeah, they're so heavily scripted that I insta-die. I have to do it all over. Yeah, no.
Well, I mean, there is usually a button you have that fixes the problem.
Sini just keeps saying feel the wrath of fucking Nidhogg, but I assume that's my limit break. Problem is, my limit break isn't ready. So that creates a problem. What the hell am I supposed to do if I can't do the thing I think it wants me to do? Technically heavily scripted when that happens. Scripted, you know what I mean? This result always happens no matter what.
Taste my lance!
An example of a heavily scripted that comes off the top of my head is like when in Tales of the Abyss, when you fight Ash the Bloody for the first time, whether you win, whether you beat him or he wins, the result is the same.
When I said heavily scripted, what I meant is there is like one thing you need to do, and if you do not do it, you fail.
That's not. I wouldn't call that scripted. I'd call that more of like a one-shot mechanic. Scripted usually means this will always be the result. I say usually because I'm sure there's a few examples that are exceptions. I just can't think of any.
Peer into my past, did you?
Well, I didn't quite relive the experience as you did, but I bore witness to it all.
Well, something I noticed, all of the echo sequences, all of them are non-voiced.
I'm still not sure what I think of this gift of yours. But no matter. Our confrontation was cut short when the Imperial Guard arrived. It was then that Xenos took his leave, citing boredom.
To think their research into the Echo could bear such fruit. Escaping death, jumping from one body to the next, and returning to his own after all this time.
I've ranked up high enough in the
He is an Ascian in all but name.
I can't get the tank yet, but I have one of those tribe quests where I get to roll the tank around for some.
It beggars belief, aye. But no more than a hero traversing the rift between worlds. My concerns are far more prosaic. With the Emperor dead and the Crown Prince missing, the Empire is in disarray.
I mean, was in-game, what in the universe, wasn't it like only a few months ago that the previous Emperor died and the Empire was in disarray?
Do you want to know what makes it even worse?
What?
Despite the fact that it can't be possible, according to Square Enix, the entirety of the game at least up until Endwalker releases, or released, I guess now, is more grammatically accurate, was all in the span of 1 year. Despite the fact that sailing to Dome would have taken months, sailing to Charlian in the very first quest of Endwalker would have taken weeks, if not months.
Actually, when you think about it, they also have airships.
No, you take a boat.
Yeah, I know you take a boat. However, we don't know what the distance is.
Yeah, you do.
Considering Arbert and his friends caused the flood 100 years ago, I think that 1 year thing is the least of the things you should be concerned with.
Until order is restored, assuming it even possible, we needn't fear an Imperial reprisal. And for reasons of his own, Xenos took it upon himself to rid the world of Black Rose. Riol has already gone to apprise the Alliance leaders of these developments. We may leave the matter in their hands for now.
Then perhaps we have seen the last of the fighting at Gimlet. Though, if it comes to civil war, I cannot help but fear for the provinces. I'd nearly forgotten to ask. What became of Gaius? Did he not escape with you?
That he did, but we parted ways shortly after leaving Garlemald. He claimed another threat had arisen which demanded his attention. He didn't elaborate, but the absence of some device or other in the capital gave him reason to believe they're planning something. Lest you worry, I believe he has well and truly shed the Black Wolf's pelt. Conquest is no longer his objective. We may safely leave him to his own devices.
Well, it's nice to have one less foe to worry about, even if we do have a mysterious new threat to look out for instead. Speaking of which, I'll see that Riol and Al Shinobi are made aware. Though we still know next to nothing, it can't hurt to be vigilant.
Well then, with Black Rose nipped in the bud, I believe I've fulfilled my part of the bargain.
That's true, but with the Archon still slumbering away, we were hoping you might agree to stay with us for a little bit longer.
Sorry, but I'm not inclined to extend my contract. Gaius isn't the only one with business to attend to.
Thank you for your help then, Estinian. I see why Alphino admires you, sir.
Farewell, my friend. See that you don't make a habit of dozing off in battle.
See that you don't make it a habit of dozing off in battle.
I suppose we should all be getting on then. As ever, we will see to the Archon's needs. In the meantime, why not get some rest? You've more than earned it. Go on.
More cutscenes!
Well, they say several, they mean several.
I know. Meanwhile, in Garlemald. Man, if I could perfectly mimic that narrator from SpongeBob, I would do that every time perfectly. Who's Nerva? Well, I guess I'm not finding out because that guy's dead.
Nerva.
They said Lord Nerva. Is this like an Endwalker thing?
I don't remember if Barja covered it, but I believe Nerva is or was another contender for the throne besides Varus and Xenos. It was like Xenos and
yeah, there was a lot of... Xenos wasn't a contender for the throne, actually.
Until Varus died.
Yeah.
But like in the previous War of Succession.
Yeah,
Nerva
in the previous
like,
one. I think I remember Nerva. I don't remember.
Was either Varus' brother or cousin or something.
Uncle, I believe. I remember them stating something about about Varus beating his uncle for the throne. I believe. I mean, it's been so long. Meanwhile, in Yulmore in the first.
And now for somewhere completely different.
They say several cutscenes. They mean several cutscenes.
If memory serves, the first time you see that warning is right before the bloody banquet, which is an hour.
Yes, actually, yes. It is at the end of post A Realm Reborn. That's when you first fucking see it.
I remember someone saying they skipped that cutscene, and they're wondering why people were like upset with you and the people were missing or dead. And so someone summed it up best in the reply on the Reddit post, like, you may have just skipped the most important cutscene in the game so far.
I mean, it is extremely important. I know a lot of the cutscenes are mild or what's the word I'm looking for?
Have varying levels of relevance for each cutscene to cutscene.
Why is there Arbor?
Oh hey, you're at that part.
Elizabeth, what are you doing? Elizabeth's last words at the end of Shadowbringers. What did you send me?
And Liberty Bibbity. Like the freaking the Liberty Mutual cuts.
Liberty Bibbity Bibbity.
It was like the actor's trying to say his lines, and they're like, he keeps getting it wrong.
Yeah.
And like, we'll dub it. Because one of his fuck ups is Liberty Bibbity.
Edible.
Edibles. Marijuana Man!
I fucking knew it!
He's just a sentient, massive hemp.
You know what? I would actually love a game that's just like a parody game of something, and one of the antagonists, you can make him like the big baddie at the end or something, whatever, is literally just a man made of hemp. There's no context as to why he is made of hemp. They don't explain why he is made of hemp. It's just, you will accept that this man is made of hemp.
It's just not addressed. It's like mentioned once and never explained or brought up ever again.
Yeah, it's just like you just accept it. Hey, Maxima, I haven't seen you since you almost died in the burn. What the fuck?
I don't know. I just had the phrase an uncomfortable amount of bees in my mind.
Okay.
Oh hey, I found someone with an Ezio Ninja Glam.
I was wondering when someone would do an Ezio glam. If their search info doesn't say Requiescan Pache, or I forget what it was because I haven't.
Requiescan Pache.
Yes,
no,
thank you.
The best part is, the only part about this that's hard to get is the 3 pure white dyes. The rest of it, I could probably recreate this.
Ezio actually wears a darker color in Revelations.
I know he wears black, but
yeah, I know. More people are familiar with the Brotherhood outfit.
I just sent you a list for to have on record if you ever want to.
I am an Assassin's Creed fan, but I'm not that much of an Assassin's Creed fan.
It's not a bad look, actually.
No, I don't. I'm not saying that it is. I do not doubt for a second that it's a good look. But it must have been hard trying to get that all together, though.
Not really. It's literally all level 80 scouting gear.
He says to the person who doesn't have a single scouting job.
The single scouting job.
Yeah. Which brings up the question, why is there only one?
It's part of why people strongly believe. It hasn't been outright confirmed, I don't think, yet. But it's heavily believed that the next, that 7.0 is going to have a DPS, and some people say a tank, some people say another healer. But either way, it's definitely going to have a DPS, and one of them is going to be scouting.
Just imagine the next tank is just gonna it's going to be called Barbarian, but your main weapon is just a bonk stick. Gaius! Kinda, buddy.
They're here, Commander.
Ooh, voice cutscene.
And I, for one, am grateful that they are. Told you've been busy since our paths last crossed at the Gimlet Dark. Not that I understand half of it. When the Scions spoke of other worlds, I'd struggled to describe what I pictured. Mayhap things would seem clearer were I to hear the tale from your own lips. But I'm afraid the situation will not afford us that luxury. I trust you two require no introduction.
We meet again, hero of Eorzea. Must we repeat this ridiculous display? I pose no threat to you, though what I come to warn you of very well might.
Had he meant to do us harm, I hazard he would have kept to the shadows, and brought more than 2 companions. We need not pretend to be the best of friends, but I hope we can put aside our differences for the present.
As you are doubtless aware, Sir Estinian and I cooperated to rid the world of Black Rose in your absence. Our journey together took us as far as the Imperial Palace, where we witnessed Emperor Varus meet his death at Xenos' hand. Being the sole witnesses to this crime, and in no position to defend our innocence, we were then forced to flee, each pursuing his own avenue of escape. When we were later reunited, Estinian claimed to have encountered an unfamiliar kind of machina during his flight, but to me his description seemed anything but. And upon further investigation, I found that I was right. The Empire is developing a new Ultima weapon.
Yeah, I figured, since it said prototype.
What, that Allagan monstrosity, created to vanquish primals? With which you yourself once thought to conquer Eorzea?
The same. In my foolishness, I sought to harness its power, and became the Ascian's pawn in so doing. But you know as well as I how that tale ended. The weapon itself, excavated from beneath this very city, was destroyed ere we could fully unravel its secrets, and that should have been the end of it. But unlikely as it sounds, the Empire's efforts to recreate it have somehow borne fruit, primarily through secret research conducted by the 7th Imperial Legion, it would seem.
Wait, the 7th was all but annihilated at Cartano, along with its legatus.
Wasn't the 7th, Nail? Hello?
I don't... I think...
They just mentioned the 7th was all but annihilated at Cartano, along with its legatus. And all I can think of is Nail.
Like, they thought Nail died there, but Nail went crazy and got, like, enslaved by Bahamut.
And became a man and woman.
That's purely a translation issue, actually.
I know that is, but I just want to put that in there because I think it's funny. I just love how the developers are like, translation issue, I know how to fix it.
The 7th, as it is now, has little in common with the Legion led by Vandanis, and its leadership has changed hands several times since. Precisely how this project has continued despite such turmoil, and under whose auspices, remains a mystery. What we do know, however, is that a number of prototypes have been produced, and that one of them is on its way to Eorzea. We attempted to stop it, but it was all we could do to slow its progress, so we resolved instead to bring you warning.
And right glad are we that you did, though it soundly dashed our hopes that tensions might ease at last.
As it is, we've begun to strengthen our presence in the Gimlet Dark, and are assembling a force to meet the coming threat. A force with you in its vanguard, I hope. Before you say anything, I know full well you have pressing concerns of your own. Your comrades remain in peril, and I would not ask you to forsake them, but the fact remains that you and you alone have faced the Ultima weapon, and emerged victorious. We need you. And so, when the time comes, if your comrades can spare you, I bid you lend us your strength. I've assigned an officer to await your word.
The Ascian's downfall was to be the work of my remaining days, but it was my hand that kindled these flames, and I cannot allow them to spread any further. I will do what I must to see this mistake consigned to history once and for all, even if it means begging your aid. The Fates will enjoy the irony, even as I endure the ignominy.
I too shall make for the border and offer my skills, meager though they seem in such company. Mayhap we shall meet there anon.
Though we can ill afford to ignore the Ultima weapon, our friend's plight grows ever more precarious. And
can I just say that that timing of that
first.
Was so perfect? As Maxima walks out of the room, you just start that as if you were waiting this whole time to just bust a gut.
I just noticed our tank is a male Zayla with a suit jacket, leather pants, and oh, what color is it? Where is he? I gotta see him in all this. And
I only hope you are not
pink
forced to make
head.
a choice.
That is a combination
and it's a
of
warrior
glam.
too.
That's a
It's
combination.
a warrior too.
That's a combination of glam. I hope you take a picture so I can see this cryptid.
If I get a chance, I will, because this is an Endwalker dungeon. I need to pay a bit more attention.
Okay.
I'm not the healer though. I don't need to pay that much attention.
No, you're the DPS. If you die, you'll stay dead for a bit.
I can't send it to you right away naturally, but I took a picture.
Yeah, we'll worry about it after stream. I have to see this. I love cryptids in this game. Also, can I say that a few days ago I noticed how the Aetherites are set up here. We got we have Lanusia, the Shroud, Thanalamala, Kerthis, Girabania, Hingashi Othard. Then we have fucking what I assume is Garlemald, and then Norvrand.
Actually, if you want me to just tell you that's not Garlemald. For starters, Garlemald does not have blue in their flag. For starters,
it's been like 80 million years. Is it wait? Is it the moon?
No.
How spoiler heavy is this?
It's Razathan.
Where was that? Where was that?
Tavnir.
Say what?
Tavnir.
Oh. Meh. Yeah, because they mentioned Razathan in a bunch.
A lot.
Yeah.
To the point where I think before the X-Pac name was announced, I think people thought that's what people thought we were going to go to Razathan and we'd go to freaking Norvrand.
Do I ever get to go to Garlemald?
You want me to tell you?
Yes.
You do. Kind of.
Is it a duty-bound thing only?
No.
Oh. Do I go to Garlemald in cutscenes only?
No.
Okay. Wait, what am I talking about? I was just in Garlemald as a Stinian. Cutscene time!
Now that we are all here, what news from the source?
Okay, first up, about the ultimate weapon. It's alive!
A new ultimate weapon. We must count ourselves lucky that Gaius has pledged his assistance.
While this is indeed a worrying development, I think the state of the Empire as a whole greater grounds for concern. With the Emperor slain and Xenos returned, it is impossible to predict how matters will unfold in Garlemald. The Ultima weapon may be but the first of many unpleasant surprises.
What has expanded? Please don't say dong. You just go dead silent.
I was reading my my expanded new job stuff.
I just love how you went dead silent as soon as I said, please don't say dong.
The situation beareth closer observation, of that there is no doubt, and doth compound our need to return unto the source.
Then let us address that issue. Our long search for a means to see you safely home may well be nearing its conclusion. Thanks in large part to Urianger and Beklug's invaluable insight, we have succeeded in fashioning a vessel for the journey.
We set out to create a crystalline container retaining the more useful properties of white aurosite, but without its regrettable limitations. And after a good deal of trial and error, we made one.
Is part of your UI getting in the way of quest stuff?
An ark for soul and mind both that will allow your incorporeal self in its entirety to be ferried between worlds.
I can't see part of my stack.
Spirit vessel, if you will.
Because it gets covered by the other gauge. My two Reaper gauges are too close together. Basically, what it is, I need to move one of them.
Though the vessel
Luckily,
is possessed of the requisite qualities to hold mind and memory, it wanteth yet for a means to receive of them. For that, we must needs imbue it with the Exarch's innate gift.
A gift that lives on only through the blood of the Allegan Emperors, which certainly does not flow within aurosite or any other crystal.
Just so, milady. The blood serveth as a conduit of sorts. In its absence, memory cannot pass from mind unto mind, nor from flesh unto crystal.
That being the case, we must either alter the process of inheritance so as to require no such thing, or determine a means by which my blood may permeate the vessel. I am hopeful that the records found within this tower will yield the knowledge we require to pursue one or the other of these avenues.
As well you should be. The Allegan's body of etherological research is extraordinary. I can scarce believe it the work of ages past. But its underlying principles are not so very different from those of my own field of study. Given time, we will find the answers we seek.
I know that you can ill afford to wait, and it pains me that I must ask you to do so. I can only reaffirm my promise to you that a solution will be found. Whatever it takes, I will see you safely home.
My apologies.
I do hope you haven't come to tell us that mortal peril fast approaches.
I do hope you haven't come to tell us that mortal peril fast approaches. Don't joke about that.
No. I had hoped to speak with the Warrior of Darkness. But there is no need to cut short your meeting on my account. I will be waiting outside.
Why not speak in here? She knows I don't mind. Unless she didn't want to.
Perhaps I might accompany you. Though I am woefully ill-qualified to assist in the Exarch's research, I may yet be of some use to Lena.
Me? Why not Alpha Node? You cannot be serious. Time to hit the port job. They took
only you were there like
They
40
took our jobs! They took our jobs!
If only you were there like 45 minutes ago when I was there for freaking Dwarf Quest. You can see what the tank looks like.
They took our jobs! Please tell me you know that South Park joke.
How funny you expect me to know South Park jokes when you know I have freaking seen like almost none of it.
Look up South Park, they took our jobs. It's basically people just saying, they took our jobs! They took your job!
Oh. I don't think they'd aggro from this far away.
Should I be concerned?
I teleported across a bridge and like as soon as I freaking get across both of the enemies aggro, I'm like, I thought I would have to come a bit closer to where they are to do that.
Did you slay this eater? Your orders were to await the main force before engaging.
No, Captain. It wasn't us, I swear it. A man came out of nowhere and cut it down before we knew what was happening.
By himself. Certainly it is no light warden, but nevertheless.
It's true. Felled it with a single swing of his axe, he did. I've never seen anything like it. So I says to him, who are you, the warrior of bleeding darkness? And he says, no, I'm a warrior of light. And that was it. Buggered off as quick as he came.
A warrior of light?
Why would someone go around calling himself that, though? It was those bastards who caused the flood. I mean, if you were going to pretend to be anyone, it'd be him, the warrior of darkness.
Eh? Oh, I didn't know. It's an honor.
I just big-brained a mechanic.
Since the Eater is no longer a threat, our work here is done. Return to your posts.
Jesus Christ. Again?
So there's a Reaper button where, like I said, in combat it has a cast time of like 3 seconds. Today. Out of combat,
but I'll continue to follow your example, and may we meet again.
So...
Wait, is it Harp?
No, it's Harp's instant after you teleport.
Oh, right.
You get a button called Solso. And that lets you do a move called Harvest Moon after you do the
I apologize for the wasted journey.
I hit the boss
Seems
with Harvest Moon right
the
before
threat.
it becomes like untargetable. So as soon as it becomes untargetable, I'm doing the wind up on Solso.
As for this warrior of light, I do not know who would be brazen enough to take that mantle for his own. Whatever it may once have meant, it is forever tainted by the association with the Flood. The Exarch told me the truth of Ardbert and his comrades' deeds, and I am aware they played some part in your own triumph. But to most, they are synonymous with the calamity that befell this world. Still, if this man is minded to destroy Sin Eaters, I may forgive him his unfortunate choice of alias. But that is neither here nor there. I thank you for accompanying me.
With that concluded, shall we return to the Crystarium? There is a proposal I should like to make.
Forgive me. There is one more thing. A personal concern of mine. I had hoped you might have a moment to speak privately.
Take your time. I shall go on ahead.
So not Ardbert is going around calling himself a warrior of light in the first, where that's not a good thing. This just keeps getting better.
I will not mince words. This matter concerns the Exarch. Though his countenance belies his age, his demeanor never has. He has seen more than any man should and grown ever more weary with time. But I see I give the wrong impression. While it is true he attempted to open a letter with a salmon fillet the other evening, we are not here because I suspect his mind is deteriorating.
Graha apparently attempted to open a letter with his salmon fillet.
Nor do I believe him to be so maddeningly unconcerned by the prospect of his own death as he once was. Indeed, the opposite is true. It is for this reason that I seek your advice. Since he returned from the Tempest, the Exarch is not as he was.
I love being one sticker away from getting 2 lines.
He seems a different man.
Like going from 0 to 2.
A younger man.
Of course that's not what my last sticker is. Of course not.
Isn't it just frustrating?
But that also means I got no lines.
You have failed your overlord. You will be appropriately punished.
I know not the details of his research, but when I saw him at work recently, there was a glint in his eye that I had never seen before. He looked happy.
Freaking Idleshire is like the one town.
It was as if he had peered into the future, and for the first time,
at the Aetheryte whenever I teleport here.
Found joy there.
Because if I just go in a direction, I almost always go the wrong way.
Though it gladdens me to see him thus, I wonder if I should not keep my distance. I fear that my presence will only anchor him to the past. Remind him of all the pain that came before.
Well, I did hit 90 pounds. That's right. I showed you the other day where I did like the sword from God. Oh yeah.
Are you sure? Then perhaps we might remain as we were.
So the best use
as we have always been. What a relief. In that case, I will have to speak with him about the amount of time he is spending at work. This research is important, I know, but if he refuses to consider his own health, I will have to consider it for him.
That moment when you see a Makote named Blake Belladonna, and it is not a cat girl. You had one fucking job and you couldn't even do that right.
How hard is it to do that?
But it's funny, this is now like what, the second
Ruby, that
character we seen.
Yeah, because there was the Ruby Rose I told you about.
I've also seen one or more Rubies, and I saw one that was actually really good.
Rubies is probably the easiest one to do.
Because she's just B Reaper.
Yeah. I'm just waiting for a Hrothgar that uses the name of Blake's dad, and it'll just be like, okay, sure, it's the same size. Because her dad is like big.
He's big. He is chunky.
You said this on stream. I spent a lot of time going back to the ocular, I've noticed.
Yep. What's your current quest, actually?
Facing the truth.
One, two, three, four, 5 quests later, beneath the surface is a duty.
Jesus! I might not get to it in this stream.
Oh my god, you're gonna meet the most adorable character soon. Oh my god. Rikitio. She's adorable. There's also a quest called the Converging Light, which has to do the quest before it has like a big like lore nugget, and then immediately after has a
How much of a Miyazaki move would it be if the Greater Will turned out to just be a hollow with a torch? For Elden Ring. And it's like, it doesn't even... When it speaks, and all you really hear is it quoting random characters from Demon Souls.
It's just random other bits of dialogue without context. Or, in true cursed fashion, it's every voice actor in the game reading the line like layered over each other. So it's just an uncomfortable, garbled mess.
God, I would love for that to be the case. It would be such a Miyazaki thing to do.
I do hope you like go through and get to the dungeon, because I don't remember this dungeon that well.
I can't guarantee that I will do the dungeon tonight, but I'm gonna try and at least get it available.
Where are you?
Crystarium.
Specific.
Crystarium. It's not that big. Rescues me into a fucking flying tower again.
Where in the Crystarium?
On the ground floor. This red mage cat girl looks a bit like Blake Belladonna, but her name isn't Blake Belladonna.
Well, it's better than being Blake, having your character named Blake Belladonna and being a dude.
Well, wait. I've been bamboozled. In spite of my rage, I am still just a tall bunny mage. I have been bamboozled.
Yeah, that's a Vieira. What the fuck are you talking about?
I had my camera zoomed out.
Oh, I gotta exit the freaking.
Yeah, I know. Well, the next one isn't far, so might as well just gun it. Also, I didn't I didn't notice the stance was the female Vieira stance. You ever think that if a Vieira ever says, "I'm all ears," people just look at them, just look at them like,
Man, someone's talking.
To be fair, there are a lot of books here. Time to jump and break my legs. That didn't do much. That what?
I saw your health bar go down.
Yeah, but it didn't do as much damage as I thought it would. And I just saw yours vanish. But that's because you went to a different area.
I went into the pendants and messed with my bard gland.
Yes, this looks to be nearly everyone. Let us begin, shall we? Though I am usually the first to hold forth at such events, I think on this occasion that honor should fall to you.
They would be more inclined to take the word of the Warrior of Darkness.
Indeed. In light of the subject matter, who better than thee to speak these truths?
Wicked White? The Warriors of Light did all that?
So they never... I mean, they only ever wanted to help. And when everything they'd done turned to ash, they still carried on.
They gave everything to stop the flood. First their lives, then their souls. And they managed it too. In the end. They saved us. And we cursed their names.
This should go a long way towards clearing the air.
Oh hey, it's not Ardbert. Not Bert.
Impossible.
Take it I'm not imagining this then.
I definitely see something. You don't think it's a ghost, do you?
Nay. Yonder standeth no bloodless apparition, but a warrior of light and darkness both. Ardbert.
What in the world?
It's you! The one who slew the Eater!
That it should be the Warrior of Darkness who brought the truth to light. You've saved me a fair bit of time. Though I have a few words of my own to say, if I may. People of the Crystarium! I am Ardbert. One of those you know as a warrior of light.
Yeah, this isn't Ardbert. Ardbert's dead.
That's impossible. You should be dead.
Aye, that I should. But as the world has been given new life, so too have I. I know not why I, and I alone, have been gifted this chance. But I do know this. Only by the will of the star itself could such a miracle come to pass.
Uh-huh.
The hero who stands before you now, the Warrior of Darkness, is not of this world. And the day will come when he must return to his home.
I just noticed Ignis just gave a look, just like, something's off.
Like, this is going somewhere, I'm not sure where, but it is not good.
Yeah, just
But this land is our home. And if it is to remain so, now and forevermore, it is we who must protect it. The time to rely on saviors from afar has passed. It is you who must rise. You who must become the new warriors of light!
What? Us? Warriors of light?
There is no way this can go that is good for me.
That sums up the look your character makes. There is no possible way this can be good for me, what he's doing right now.
Yeah, it's just like what,
I don't know
what
he's
this
doing,
person...
I don't know why he's doing it, but it cannot end well for me. Something is going to go screwy somewhere.
Yeah, because, like, this is not Ardbert. No way would Ardbert be... First of all, Ardbert would not out the fact that you are not even from this world.
He would... Don't you, like, agree to keep that on the down low?
Yeah, because, even when you had met Ardbert back in Heaven's Word, it's just like... That's something you keep on the down low. No need for everyone on the planet to know this shit.
If memory serves, he only confides that in you at, like, his moment of utmost desperation.
Yeah.
That he's from the first.
Yeah. I believe that's in the final confrontation with them.
Yeah, that's like in the still it came to this moment.
Yeah. And it's like, so I know this is not Ardbert, just based on this alone.
I will say, if you keep going with this and go up to...
None of us were born
before
heroes,
the
my
dungeon,
friend.
There's a bit where you can fucking
I was only ever a man
and it's great.
with a thirst for adventure.
You can freaking engage in entrapment and catch him in a lie.
But wherever my journeys took me, I was invariably confronted with the same choice. To lend what aid I could to those in need, or not. And I always chose the former. Any one of you could do the same. All you need is the will to help your fellow man, and the resolve to see it through.
Still making that look of the this is more of the head slightly tilted anger look. Like,
from thine own lips did we learn of Ardbert's fate, and by thy countenance I gather thou art
don't you look like
inclined
that's
to
like one of the
recant
3
thy
emotes
testimony.
you're allowed to do in cutscenes as the Warrior of Light? There's the fist into your palm, there's a plain nod, and then there's like the confused head tilt.
And then there's this, where it's just a lot, where it's just like, control, murder is illegal.
There is a crowd here. I cannot beat him in the face.
I cannot commit open murder here. That will not be a good look for me.
Yet whosoever this man may be, his words hold truth and resonate with the citizenry besides.
Magic is
For us to voice our doubts here and now would serve but to sow disquiet.
I think Fantasias
For
are,
better we retired under the ocular and there discuss
best.
this matter in private.
Yeah,
but
it's like when you have like illusions, glams, stuff like that that's confirmed to exist in lore. Why would you take someone at their word, especially when it comes to someone who is dead for 100 fucking years, and would have
go on about how they're all dead.
Yeah, and not to mention, even if they were reborn, how would they remember any of that? This isn't like with Minfilia, whose essence was reborn within certain vessels.
And like with Minfilia, they were
I will stay here
distinctly
and
their
watch.
own person, and she's just like, your soul is mine. It's kind of sinister when you think about it.
Yeah, I know. I mean, she does say she's no different than an Ascian at that point.
Which is why she doesn't want to do it anymore.
Yeah, she even
feels
says
bad.
she even says to Thancred that she's no different than an Ascian. I can't wait to do it. I can't wait to do it. I can't wait to do it. I just feel like, aha! But that never actually occurred. And you just be like, shit.
It's a dialogue choice, and you'll immediately know it when you see it.
So
this is the one that
is a warrior of light of the first.
I can't wait for that. I mean, like, I liked Ardbert. I liked all of them.
And, like, the best part is, like, you can't like, I believe even the Scions are like questioning it, where it's like, and I'm just sitting there between dialogue boxes. I'm like, he's blatantly a liar. How are any of you believing any of this?
Seriously, ignoring all of the other shit that you've seen, you know for a fact that once a soul has been completely spent, it goes back to ether. It does not get reborn like this.
Here's the even bigger thing. Ardbert isn't technically dead. Period. When you have like that, can you take one more step moment? You like merge with him. Is the whole thing.
Yes, but
Ardbert as an independent entity is gone. But like
you could say that his will isn't dead, but Ardbert himself is.
I mean, yeah, he's like the sad ghost for most of
I've not had the pleasure of making his acquaintance, but as you all
he's
seem
like
to
a
be in
part
agreement,
of you, so
I gather this is no simple case of
be
mistaken identity.
This is a case of mistaken identity, heavily.
As far as I was able to discern, that was indeed Ardbert. It has been a long time, but
especially
not
when
that long.
the one shade in Amerlot says you and Ardbert have the same color soul.
That we are souls of... that we appear to be pieces of a certain Amaratine individual, whom I think is the 14th who left their seat. I'm probably closer to the truth than I realize, aren't I?
There's a quest coming up actually called, I think it's called Etched in the Stars, where it basically rattles off the 14 for you, more or less, I think.
Yeah. It looks like him, and it sounds like him, but it isn't him.
Ardbert did entrust his very soul
if anyone shouldn't
I see
believe
no
him,
reason to question
it's
my
freaking
judgment.
Y'shtola. Because Y'shtola can see ether. She can see it's not Ardbert.
Wait, did she actually? Wait, I can't remember. Has she actually met Ardbert though?
That's a good question, actually. I actually don't think
not,
she did. Because you meet the Warriors of Darkness post Heaven's Word, and she doesn't get out of like the flow until after that part.
No, she gets out before that, but she's not there when you confront them.
Oh yeah, isn't she still unconscious or something for a bit?
She is, but not throughout the entire. Okay, not throughout the entirety of Heaven's Word, because you have to go to Master Matoya. But if I'm not mistaken, she does not actually meet the Warriors of Darkness as they were in the Source.
I'm not sure. Now that I think about it.
Because if that's the case, then she would not recognize that this isn't Ardbert. Otherwise, that's a huge fucking plot hole.
And here's the other question. To help exacerbate the issue.
Your ether burns
has
as
she ever
brightly
seen
as the day you
Elizabeth
slew
as
Emmett
Elizabeth?
Selk.
Oh, Y'shtola doesn't believe it either. She just says, nor I. Nor I. To my eyes, your ether burns as brightly as the day you slew Emmett Selk. This is proof that he is with you still. So, I guess this kind of confirms that she never actually met Ardbert.
But that she knows he combined with you and your soul hasn't visually changed. Your ether hasn't visually changed.
Yeah, so she has no reason to doubt your words.
Yet that
Yay,
which
cat
standeth
mom.
now before the people is far more than a passing imitation. I am reminded of the cardinal virtues.
Just had I finally
Though a
think I found a
sin-eater he is
barnacle
not.
clan, but I like it. It's a freaking level 72 gear.
Ha!
Which leaveth but one plausible
Shakuse.
explanation.
That he is an Ascian.
Given their fondness for posthumous possession, I would have to agree. From what I understand, the Warriors of Light were laid to rest in Yulmore by those whom they had aided in life. At the time, some few still remembered them as heroes.
That explains it. Ascian possession of Ardbert's body when he was still young. Because this guy looks like young Ardbert.
Needless to
AKA
say,
Ardbert,
4 of them were
doesn't visually
subsequently
look that much
exhumed
different.
to serve as the virtues.
He doesn't have a beard.
And if one knew where to
Here.
look, Ardbert too would not have been difficult to find.
I've been standing here staring at you for so long while you're doing cutscenes that I went AFK.
Assuming then that this is indeed the work of an Ascian, my mind inevitably turns to the last remaining paragon to survive the Sundering.
Elidibus.
Are you in a
That
non-voice
Xenos hath
section?
reclaimed his own
No,
flesh
this
is
is all
known.
voiced.
Well, can you take a second between dialogue boxes to let me do a quick meme?
What?
The minute Ardbert shows up.
How long have you been waiting for that?
Actually, I just I thought about like a minute ago, but I waited to pull it up
Thus
so I wasn't
evicted
hearing
from his
voices
borrowed form,
consistently.
and cognizant no doubt of Emet-Selk's failure here in the first. 'Tis quite possible the emissary chose
I'm gonna
Ardbert
be
for his
garbly for a
next
second as I
vessel.
walk my kitchen trying to find something else to eat.
Inhabiting the flesh of the fallen. Why, that is unsavory. And they do this often, you say?
Verily, for they possess no corporeal forms of their own. In what one may term their natural state, none save those gifted with the echo can perceive them. Indeed, when Elidibus intruded upon the waking sands, his presence did go unmarked by all save Minfilia and the Warrior of Light. On that occasion, I myself remained ignorant of his coming until after his departure. It was only at a later juncture, when he deigned to appear before me in borrowed flesh, that I was finally able to take the measure of him. In such puppetry do the Ascians engage when they seek to influence the course of history.
And they have gained much by it. Emet-Selk single-handedly built the Garlean Empire in this manner, while the Hebrea came close to conquering Eorzea, having taken possession of Thancred's living body.
Yet it must needs be noted that the Ascians cannot avail themselves of all mortal vessels. For were they able to do so, none would serve as a better pawn than our own redoubtable champion. Mayhap the blessing of light shieldeth Hydaelyn's chosen from Ascian influence. Or mayhap other forces are at work. We cannot say for certain.
Whatever the reason, I hope it holds true. I dare not contemplate what might come to pass otherwise.
Is it not peculiar, then, that Ardbert's mortal remains should be susceptible, given that he was once a warrior of light? Or did the final departure of his soul make it possible, perhaps? Regardless, to hear an Ascian use him to call forth new warriors of light boggles the mind.
Elidibus hath ever been an enigma, his ostensible purpose being to preserve the balance between light and dark. When he made overtures towards me, however, I was afforded a glimpse behind the mask of the self-appointed emissary. I shall not defend mine actions, undertaken in pursuit of a better understanding of our foe as either wise or prudent. Nevertheless, what little I did glean may now prove useful. Elidibus possesseth a subtle mind, practiced in the art of manipulation. That he coaxed this star's most valiant heroes as far as the source with naught save half-truths is no trifling feat. And now I believe he doth employ his skills once more to some as yet unknown end. Though naught is certain, should my suspicions prove true, we shall have need of all our wits if we are to uncover and thereafter thwart his plot.
Agreed. 'Tis plain that simply speaking out against him will not avail us. At best, it would only serve to confuse the people. And I would hesitate to do anything which might tarnish Ardbert's reputation once more, nor yours by association. That being the case, it may be wise to keep a covert eye on this Ardbert's movements, as we attempt to discern his purpose and how best to mitigate his influence.
His performance appears to have concluded. What now? Go back out and follow him?
'Twould appear Master Alphino already hath pursuit in mind, and I suspect one pair of eyes shall better serve our cause than half a dozen. Let the rest of us maintain an inconspicuous distance, for the present at least.
Did I teleport?
Yes, you did.
Okay, ended the stream here.